Let me relate to you a little account. We were out and about, as sometimes happens. Sometimes we're allowed out of town or we're released from jail.
It amazes us more that we're allowed back in.
We're often allowed back in. When we were out, we happened to hear a sermon being delivered by a gentleman who was rather unlettered and frankly unschooled in the Bible. A man of good intentions and ambition, but he fell a little short of what you might think of as the best preaching. We found it interesting, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about his sermon. It was called Fling Down Jezebel. Have you heard this before? Fling Down Jezebel? You're not familiar with it? It was his famous sermon. He had preached it twice. And lo, the queen of Sheba done went down into Jerusalem a-riding on her ass. And she fell among thieves. But they passed her by. So she got up, hopped right back on, and got her ass a-moving again. So by and by she seen 10 virgins a-coming from afar off down the road. And lo, 5 of them was wise, and 5 of them was foolish. And so wasn't virgins for very long. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. Now, them virgins came with the crowd to meet Queenie with palm leaf fans, crying, Lo, Susanna of the Ephesians, now don't you cry for me. And they continued on with her for a ways, a-wagging them palm leaf fans at Queenie and her ass, a-shouting, Ho, Susanna, she come from Shabama with a banjo on her knee. And so it was that she traveled that day into Jerusalem. Now, as Queenie rode down the street, she looked up in the 3rd-story window of the palace, and there she seed Jezebel. So she cried out to the servants of that palace, Fling down Jezebel, for Jezebel was a wicked woman. Now, Jezebel's servants were so afraid, knowing that wicked Jezebel had had a man killed to get his vineyards for her old husband Ahab. And the servants hollered back to Queenie, We ain't going to fling down Jezebel. And she said unto them the 2nd time, Fling down Jezebel. And again, they answered back, crying out, Lord of mercy, Queenie, we ain't going to fling down Jezebel. And so she beseeched them the 3rd time, hollering, Fling down Jezebel. And this time their hearts was moved, so they flung down Jezebel 70 times 7, until Jezebel was busted into pieces which could not be numbered from the multitude thereof. And the name of the number was 666. And there was a mighty weeping and a wailing and a snatching up of her teeth. And they picked up of her remains 12 baskets full, 5 loaves and 2 small fishes, thus fulfilling the prophecy that says that dogs would lick up her blood. So I say unto you, brothers and sisters, in the day of judgment, whose wife am Jezebel a gwine to be? Amen and amen.